The Ace of Spades is known to be the death card. Nobody knows why it became associated with death, but most cultures believe that the Ace of Spades is a bad omen. Two young girls, named Nicole and Tamara, were sitting in their backyard one evening. They were passing their time playing cards on the garden table. It was getting dark and the moon was visible in the night sky. There was a forest and a swamp behind their house, and the wind was blowing softly through the trees. The girls were just about to start a new game when a tall man appeared from the darkness. The two girls never had seen that man before, and he came scuffling through the long grass and approached them. They felt a little afraid. "Ah, I see you two are playing cards," he said. The girls nodded. "Mind if I join you?" he asked. "I can teach you a new game." Tamara shook her head. Her mother had always warned her not to talk to strangers. Besides, the man looked very creepy. But the other girl said, "Okay, I suppose. It's kind of boring just playing with two people. Show us your new game." Tamara nudged her and whispered to her ear, "I don't want to play with him. Let's just go inside." "Come on," laughed Nicole. "Stop being such a baby. Stay here. Don't you want to learn a new card game?" Reluctantly, Tamara agreed to stay. The tall man picked up the deck of cards and began to shuffle them. "I don't know if you will like this game," he said grinningly broadly, "but I know I will enjoy it immensely." He dealt the cards, one to each of the girls and one to himself. Tamara's cards slid off the table and fell face up on the ground. It was the Ace of Spades. When Tamara bent down to pick it up, she saw that the man wasn't wearing any shoes. His legs were long and hairy and his toenails were curled. A chill went down her spine. Holding the Ace of Spades in her hand, she began to feel very frightened. She began to tug at her friend's blouse and begged her to leave. Nicole refuses and dismissed her with a wave of her hand. Tamara ran to the house and locked the door behind her. She scrambled up to the stairs and into her bedroom. Grabbing her mobile phone, she called the police. When they arrived a few minutes later, Tamara answered the front door and led them out to the backyard. When they got to the table, they found Nicole's dead body laying underneath it. The poor girl had been torn in half. The chair on which she had been sitting was covered in blood. A note had been placed on the table. It read, "You were saved from death by the Ace of Spades." Robert was always afraid of the paranormal, and a longtime reader of creepypastas, so it was no surprise that he would never walk under ladders, step on cracks, or do anything which supposedly invoked some sort of ill omen. However, for such a superstitious being, he paid no heed to lucky charms or superstition which was supposed to invoke good luck. It was because that he would never understand how lucky he was to be able to turn his head. He was shocked to one day find a note on his wall which reads, "Look behind you." Being superstitious as he was, Robert spent the rest of the day staring at that note, unmoved, thinking to himself, "What happens if I turn around? Will it kill me? Will it be the most hideous thing I ever seen?" The question plagued him for about 18 hours until he fell asleep. In the morning, Robert woke in his bed, remembering the note and think it was a dream. An hour later, Robert was getting ready for work. He was horrified when a mutilated corpse leaking pus and crawling with maggots dropped out of his closet when he was trying to get a tie. Remembering the warning of what he now believed was not a dream, he didn't look behind him. He was declared dead in the hospital 6 hours later. Rushed them to the EMTs when the local hospital received a mysterious call from someone who had presumed to be the person who fatally wounded Robert. Inscribed on Robert's gravestone are the same words said by the caller. He died because he didn't look behind him. There once was a little girl named Zoe, and oh, how Zoe loves to draw. Hey Zoe, you should draw a picture of me today. That was Zoe's best friend. Zoe was the only one that could see her best friend. That's because people really don't like how she looks. Are you sure I should draw you? What if someone sees? Don't worry about that, just draw. So Zoe got out her crayons and paper and started to create the picture. Several minutes later, Zoe's mother came into the room. What are you drawing, dear? She asked. Oh, I'm drawing a little girl. Zoe's mother smiled. Then she looked closer to the picture. Why does the little girl have red hands? Zoe giggled. That's Clara, she replied. Her mother was still confused. Suddenly, Zoe's father came in. Oh, that's a beautiful drawing of a girl, he remarked. Why is her face blue? He asked. Zoe grinned widely. That's Clara! Zoe's parents were both very confused, but decided to leave it alone. That night, Zoe's father had trouble sleeping. He just couldn't stop thinking about the unsettled drawing his daughter had made. Just as he was about to drift off, he felt a sudden pain in his hands. He looked down and saw blood dripping out of them. He started to breathe faster. A quick glance around him told him that him and his wife were the only ones in the room. Suddenly, he felt cold hands wrapped around his neck. He felt the air being slowly squeezed out of him as he drifted into unconsciousness. The friend grinned. That victim had gone away very easily. Hopefully, her next one would too. Zoe's mother was awoken from someone shaking her shoulder. When she looked up, she saw what she would have thought was her daughter. Zoe, what do you need? The figure stood silently. Suddenly, she started to sing a strange little song. Why do you look at her? She never looked at you. Why do you look at her? She wants nothing to do with you. As she sang, her face contorted until it looked like she had been severely injured. Before the tired and distraught mother could respond, the being jumped onto her. It bit her hard in each hand, then it pushed hard at her chest until she couldn't breathe. The friend looked proudly at her work. There was only one thing left to do. She went into the kitchen and to prepare the final step. The morning came and Zoe awoke. She made her bed, brushed her teeth, got dressed. Then she went downstairs for breakfast. Strangely, she couldn't smell anything cooking. When she entered the room, she froze. Hung by a rope, her parents were in the center of the room. Their faces had gone blue from suffocation. Their hands were dripping red blood. Suddenly, she felt a tap on her shoulder. Aren't they beautiful? They look just like me, a voice said. Clara, why do you have to make everyone look like you? I'm never playing with you again,